Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on utilizing our Gabion quote tool. Today, we're going to be going through kind of how to decide on what type of Gabion, what size of Gabion, if you're not sure, and then how to use that information to utilize our quote tool to get job-specific pricing, including shipping. So we're going to be going through the standard types of Gabions, which is what our quote tool can return an instant quote on, versus the custom Gabions that we can offer. We'll talk about the three main types of standard Gabions that we offer, as well as which Gabion style is applicable to which application, and then how to determine what size to use and how many you would need. And then we'll go over the accessories that are included, as well as some of the optional accessories that help with assembly. And then I'll walk you through doing some sample quotes on the quote tool itself, and then kind of go over our notes and terms that we have on our quote. So there are three main types of Gabions that are considered standard that we offer pricing on through our quote tool. We have our Jura Flex, which is a double twisted wire mesh Gabion. That's available galvanized or galvanized with a PVC coating. Then we have our Jura Weld baskets, which are a welded wire mesh. You can see the picture on the right there. We have those galvanized in PVC, and then we also have raw steel available where it can rust. And then the third option we have would be our DuraGuard Gabion, which is made from polypropylene plastic grid. So the Duraflex Gabion, that's generally used in civil applications or erosion control applications. They're all standard stock items, so they're standard sizing on those. We keep them in stock. It's got a 2 to 3 day lead time. The standard way to assemble the twisted mesh baskets is utilizing tie wire. So you actually sew the remaining seams together. They do come partially assembled, but there is some finish work to do with that tie wire, in addition to using it to reinforce the face. You can save significantly on your labor savings by using a hog ring gun and hog rings. So that's definitely something to consider depending on the size of your job. The standard mesh details, it's going to be a 3 1/4 inch by 4 1/2 inch hexagonal shape opening. And that's an 11 gauge galvanized wire or a 12 gauge galvanized wire that is then coated with PVC. The PVC comes in handy if the baskets are going to be submerged in fresh water. As far as mattresses go, those are basically a flattened style Gabion. It's going to have a 2 1/2 inch by 3 1/4 inch, so a little bit smaller mesh opening because the baskets are not as tall, and so they utilize smaller fill. Where with a standard mesh, you're looking at a 4 inch to 8 inch angular fill. With Reno mattresses, you're going to be using more of a 3 inch to 5 inch. The standard sizing for the Duraflex baskets, the length is going to be 3 foot, 4 1/2, 6, 9, or 12. And then the width is going to be 3 feet or 4 1/2 feet. And then the height, we have a 1 foot, 1 1/2 foot, and 3 foot. And then with the mattresses, the length is 9 foot or 12 foot, standard 6 foot width. And then we have different heights of 6 inch, 9 inch, and 1 foot. With our DuraWeld baskets, the mesh opening is a 3 inch by 3 inch square mesh. And all of our DuraWeld baskets are made to order, so we can do custom sizing on those. Just needs to be in even increments of 3 inches. These baskets are used, civil erosion control, just like the Duraflex baskets, but are definitely the most common type used for any landscape home projects, architectural applications like veneers or um, garden walls, anything like that. Just the square mesh tends to give you a more finished look, especially with the 9 gauge wire. These baskets are assembled with spirals, which you can see in the picture is the corkscrew looking wire coming down at the seam there, as well as stiffeners, which are preformed wires that hook to the face and to the side panel to give you that reinforcement on the face of the basket. Some people don't like the look of the spirals, and so you can assemble these baskets, the Dura baskets, with hog rings, the same as Jura Flex, but that wouldn't really be saving you any time. It would be more of an aesthetic choice. So the different standard mesh options we have are 11 gauge galvanized, 12 gauge galvanized with PVC coating, so very similar to the Duraflex. But then we have a thicker version with a 9 gauge galvanized as well as a 9 gauge raw steel basket. As I mentioned, all of these are made to order, so just depending on what kind of order volume we have going through at the time, lead times generally anywhere from a week and a half to 2.5 weeks. As far as the sizing goes, the standard sizes, or I guess what you would just consider the industry standard sizes, are going to be the same as the Duraflex. But as I mentioned, all of our DuraWeld baskets are made to order, so we can do 3-inch increment baskets, no problem. That definitely comes in handy with doing smaller projects, landscape applications where you do want to be precise in your lengths and also on the widths. Our DuraGuard baskets are made from an extruded polypropylene geogrid fabric that has been UV stabilized with carbon black. So they are protected against degradation from sunlight, and then with them being a polypropylene plastic, they're not going to be affected by salt water, which is what the DuraGuard Gabions are most commonly used, the application that they're used for. Depending on the quantity, we're usually around 3 days to 2 weeks on larger quantities on lead time with these items. And standard assembly is with a marine grade cordage. We do have some grade 316L stainless steel spirals that can be utilized. But the cordage is definitely the most common. As you can see in the picture, it does have a smaller mesh. It's a little over 1 inch by 1 inch mesh spacing, so you can utilize some smaller fill with that. And while our quote tool has some standard sizes listed on the quote tool, we can do custom sizes, but the tool should give you a good idea of pricing on various sizes, and then we can provide a custom quote if you really need a different size Gabion. So with the DuraWeld baskets, here we go. So with the internal configuration, Gabion baskets are going to have a diaphragm panel every 3 feet in length. So a 6 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot basket is going to have the 2 end panels as well as a center dividing panel. So when it comes to determining what size Gabion you want for your project and how many you need to receive a quote, we generally use the total length of a single run and try to divide it into symmetrical sections. A lot of the importance of that will really depend on how it's going to be seen. Whether you have any landscape items that might be blocking part of it, if it's not that important. Usually that's what we do to try to determine what length with the Durawell baskets, where we can be fairly specific on the length. Um, with architectural applications, having that helical spiral is going to give you a seam that can be seen. So it definitely seems to be more important to have a symmetrical and aesthetically pleasing look with that division on the length. And then also, if you do have elevation changes on a retaining wall, we try to have the links kind of match up to the elevation changes, depending on how the height of the basket is changing, whether you're stacking baskets or just going with shorter and taller baskets. The standard Gabion height is going to be 3 feet. So to go higher than 3 feet, you just stack multiple Gabions on top of each other. And that is the case with Gabion fences. It's the case with retaining walls, as well as just architectural elements, including veneers. When it comes to a gravity wall, we have a lot of people that call in and saying they're wanting to build a 6 foot tall retaining wall. How deep does the base need to be? The general rule of thumb is that the base needs to be 2/3 as deep as the height, and then you can have a 1.5 foot step in as you're going up. So we use that chart on the right to kind of give a good idea on how to determine the quantities if we only know the height and length of the wall for a gravity wall. As far as deciding what size to, finally go with, we usually recommend people that smaller gabions are much easier to work with. And then when it comes to shipping with Jura Flex baskets, it doesn't really matter as much because those baskets are folded and shipped on pallets. So the likelihood of them getting damaged is a lot less. But with the Durawell baskets, they're not able to be folded. So if you order a 9 foot or 12 foot long basket, it's going to ship on a 9 foot or 12 foot long pallet. And these baskets are shipped by LTL carrier whenever it's a smaller than truckload quantity. So that means it's going to go through, at least 2 warehouses, multiple loads on and off a truck. So to reduce the chance of damage, we generally try to have a maximum length of 6 foot, possibly 9 foot, when utilizing the Durawell Gabions. Definitely the most common size is going to be a 6 foot length. That seems to be easiest to work with, but provides you with some volume discount help versus a 3 foot basket. And one of the other benefits of doing the custom sizing is with the shorter Gabion walls, such as a 3 foot tall Gabion retaining wall, you really only need about 2 feet deep. And that's not a standard item with our Jura Flex baskets. But with the Durawell baskets, we can definitely do a 3 foot tall, 2 foot wide Gabion that will allow you to reduce the amount of excavation you're doing. It's going to allow you to use less stone. Therefore, you're going to be filling the baskets up faster. So while the Durawell basket can be more expensive than the Jura Flex basket at most quantity levels, they end up being, at least a wash when you take into account the time to install them. So the only accessory really included with the Jura Flex basket is the tie wire that I mentioned earlier, but there are several items that we recommend to kind of help with the installation process. One of the most important things is, of course, hog rings and hog ring guns. That can save you, 30% of your labor cost just by utilizing them to assemble the baskets. And then once they're assembled, you're closing them, and it allows you to get the lids closed a lot faster. Another item that we've started offering in the last year is a new item on the market called a Gabion guard, which is the bottom left picture. That is a piece of folded steel that goes over either the adjoining end panels from two gabions or the center diaphragm panel. And what it does is it protects that top lip of your gabion, allowing you to dump stone into the gabion with heavy equipment without worrying about damaging the top lip of the gabion. Excuse me. So it's going to give you a lot faster of an install time because you're not having to readjust that gabion diaphragm or end panels as you're installing the stone. And then the other item would be a lid or a corner closure tool. Those are two separate items. The corner closure tool is more of just a large, heavy set of pliers that allows you to grip the two corners of gabion baskets after they've been filled to attach them together. And then the lid closure tool allows you to stuff the gabion basket full of stone so that you're not leaving any void space, and it places tension on the basket so that you can grab the lid and pull it down tight. With Jura Weld baskets, they're going to come partially assembled, just like the Jura Flex baskets, but they'll be partially assembled with helical spirals, which is the top left picture. And then they will come with additional helical spirals for the vertical seams and the lid, as well as stiffener rods if needed, depending on the size of the basket, and some additional tie wire. That is everything that's needed to assemble the basket. Due to aesthetic choices, some people do prefer the hog rings and hog ring gun for assembling the Jura Weld basket. And then also the gabion guard and lid and corner closure tools both can come in handy for assembling the Jura Weld baskets as well. Couple general notes from a structural point of view: Jura Flex and Jura Weld are interchangeable. The Jura Flex gabions are generally cheaper, but if you're not using a hog ring gun, they can take significantly longer to assemble. And we do have more size options available with the Jura Weld gabions. Galvanized gabions are the most common and are great for most applications. If there is a lot of freshwater exposure, whether it's in a drainage ditch or on a creek, lake, river, we do recommend the PVC coated gabion version. Neither the galvanized nor PVC coated gabions work well in salt water. So we do not recommend that they're used in salt water. Definitely would recommend our DuraGuard gabions or our 316L stainless steel custom gabions for that. And then as far as the design life of the gabions, our gabions are built to ASTM standards, utilized in DOT projects. So, general design life is 25 to 50 years plus. But that is definitely dependent on the site-specific conditions, how much water you have, the acidity of the soil, what kind of runoff you might be having on site. So it's just like using metal in any project. It is very site-specific. All right, so now we're going to get into using the Gabion quote tool. Now that we have an idea on what type of gabion you might want to use. All right, so this is our homepage, and the quote tool link is in that top header bar. So you just click on that. And we have a few notes on the quote tool as far as the standard gabion styles that can be quoted on here. A lot of that info we covered in the previous few minutes of the webinar, so I won't go through all of that info now. So I'm going to run a sample quote, and I will use my name. All right. When it comes to the destination type, with LTL shipping, we have a variety of destination types that we can ship to. So business with a dock would be just very straightforward. It's a dock, the truck can pull into it, have a forklift to unload the container or to unload the pallet. Then we have a business location, which, you know, would be an actual business. It just may not have a dock available, but if it's in a commercial area, that's usually all priced the same. Residential delivery would be a truck coming to your house with a lift gate. That can delay the shipment a little bit, just depending on how remote the residence is that it's going to. We do have lots of questions about, you know, a farm that's operating as a business. That would be considered remote access, which is kind of the same, according to the LTL carriers, as residential delivery. So just keep that in mind. We also deliver to construction sites. And then probably the most cost-effective delivery option we have is customer pickup at a trucking terminal. And what that allows us to do is the LTL carriers already have warehousing positioned all across the US. Those are companies like FedEx Freight, Estes, YRC. And what we'll do is, based on your shipping address, we will find the closest LTL terminal to you, and then the shipment will deliver to that warehouse. And then once it arrives, they call you and we'll let you know that your order is ready, and then you can come by and pick it up, you know, on your own schedule, which is also nice. Instead of trying to arrange meeting an LTL delivery driver at your residence, have a little more freedom on the timeline with customer pickup. All right, so for this exercise, we'll do business with a dock. If you have a project name, it comes in handy. And then I'll use all right, so that is all the customer info that we need on this. And then when it comes to getting the quote, when you click the pull down for the Gabion type, you can see we have the DuraGuard, Jura Flex, and Jura Weld options. So I'll kind of show you each one how that is done. So with the DuraGuard, we don't have any other mesh sizes or material differences or anything like that. It's just the DuraGuard basket. So we do have all of the sizes, standard sizes, they're listed. So in this case, you would simply select what size you're looking for, put in the quantity that you're looking for, and if you want to add some other dimensions, you simply click add an item. And so we'll add a couple more of these. And then whenever you have your total quantity ready, you just click request quote, and that will process. And there's your quote. So this only shows up on the web page itself. You can see it does have a volume discount based on the subtotal amount of the item, and it also automatically calculates the freight. We do have all of our, you know, standard notes that are specific to this item. And if you would like an emailed copy of this quote, you just click email me this quote, and we will get a copy of that quote, as well as yourself at the email address you put at the top. This allows us, that if you decide to place an order, you can simply call in, let us know the quote number, which is going to be the number in the top right of the quote. And we can look up and see the quote, and it just makes everything move along a lot faster if you do decide to place an order with us. So if you change your mind and want to see a different quote, you just simply click Edit Quote, and it will take you back to this screen. At this point, you can change your dimensions or quantities on the Gabion type, or you can actually change to a different Gabion type, and you'll just get a warning saying it's going to remove those line items because those are specific to that Gabion type. So just click OK. We now have Jura Flex selected, and we're going to add a line item. So we have the two finishes, galvanized versus PVC. So it chose galvanized. You can do a basket or a mattress. Choose basket, and then now we have a similar setup like you saw on the DuraGuard where it's specific sizes. So in this case, we're going to pick 6 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot. We'll do 30 of those and click Request Quote. And same thing, has the summary of the quote, quantity, volume discount based on the subtotal, freight quote based on that quantity and size of baskets, as well as the destination type, and then the notes detailed specific to the Duraflex baskets. And same deal, you can click email me this quote, we'll receive a copy and you'll receive a copy. So we're gonna edit quote and go back one more time. And this time I'm gonna show you the DuraWeld baskets. As I mentioned, DuraWeld baskets, we can do custom construction. They're all made to order. So we do require a little bit more information input to be able to provide a quote. So for just practicing, let's use a 9 gauge and we'll go with galvanized, and you simply click add a line item. So the length, let's go with 6 feet. And so on this quote tool, everything needs to be entered in feet with a decimal. So that would be 6, and then say you wanted it 2 feet wide and 3 feet high, and you want 20 of those. And then let's say you have a smaller section looking for some landscaping walls. So we'll go 4 feet long, 1 foot wide, and 2 foot tall. And we're going to need 10 of those. If you did want, say like a 15-inch wide gabion, you would simply do 1.25. Or if you wanted a 30-inch tall instead of a 2 foot, 24-inch tall, you would just do 2.5. All right, so let's request quote. All right, so you can see we have a quote that's based on the exact sizes that you entered. Once again, volume discount based on the subtotal volume, freight calculation based on that size of shipment and weight of shipment and where it's going to. And then it does have, some specific notes in terms just like the others based on the DuraWeld style of baskets. All right, that concludes the demonstration on the quote tool. If you do have any further questions or have any issues, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach us at info@gabionssupply.com or call us at 866-391-6295. All right, thank you.